Good day, everyone, and today I will be discussing one of the most important issues in today's digital world, the information disorder. But before all of that, let me introduce myself. I am Reed J. Cervantes, and your speaker for today's presentation, Fake News. So, because of the internet and social media, information now spreads faster than ever. While this helps people stay connected and informed, it also makes it easier for false, misleading, and harmful content to circulate online. In just a few seconds, a post, video, or a screenshot can reach millions of people whether the information is true or not. This is why media and information literacy is important. As digital citizens, we must learn how to evaluate information carefully before believing or sharing it. So, for today, we will explore the three major types of information disorder: disinformation, malinformation, and misinformation, including examples and methods used to identify them. But before all of that, let us go on with our objectives. So, first is to define the three types of information disorder: disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Next is to present and analyze examples or content related to each type of information disorder. Next, perform different types of approaches and methods used in identifying the information disorder. And lastly, to recognize the importance of responsible sharing and critical thinking in the digital age. So, let us start. Here are the different types of fake news, and let us begin with the disinformation. So, in simple terms, disinformation is defined as a false information with bad intention. So the keyword here, guys, is intention or intentional. The creator of disinformation already knows that the information is false, but they still spreads it to influence opinions, create fear, or gain attention, and also to deceive other people, to also naapoy times that they are like made for clickbait, if I'm not wrong. So let us begin with our first example. Let me show you guys a video.
Energy-saving device. Lumalabas na totoong nakatitipid ng konsumo sa kuryente ang paggamit ng mga gadget na ito. Nagpapatrol, Alvin El Chico.
Tinesting ng mga eksperto sa Department of Energy ang mga popular na energy-saving device. Ang resulta,
kung mas malaking numero, ibig sabihin mas efficient. Pag mas efficient, mababa yung operating cost. So, mas magiging matipid.
Lahat itong mga to.
noong isang buwan, inalerto rin ng Meralco ang mga consumer dahil batay sa kanilang testing, bumili ng energy-saving device kung saan tugma o mahigit pa ang savings kumpara sa kiniklaim ng manufacturer. At lahat ng mga ito kayang pababain ang konsumo sa kuryente.
Get somebody, then papatest natin.
Alvin El Chico, ABS-CBN News.
Epektibo.
So that is indeed a very interesting product. So imagine a product that can lessen your electrical bills, diba? So to that video, I was already very skeptical with the how it was presented by Miss Bernadette Sembrano. It seems very fake, of course. So to support that claim, I of course used reverse image searching with a certain screenshot of the thumbnail, which is this one. I don't know if you guys see, but the very first is fact check energy saving devices to cut electricity costs has no DOE stamp of approval. So it was actually fact checked by Rappler, if I'm not wrong. And through what do you call this? Reverse image searching, I also found visual matches that says here fake news, then from verifiles. So from that alone, I could say that my claim is true that it is indeed fake. Now, to be more specific, let us discuss what type of like a fake news or information disorder it is. So I found three which I think suits this fake news. We have the fabricated content, manipulated content, and imposter content. So let us go through each one by one. So the fabricated content, I believe it is because the content is completely manufactured and 100% false. If like it employs artificial intelligence to construct an entirely fictional narrative claiming that the Department of Energy, which is false, endorses these power saving blogs with the explicit intent to deceive consumers and profit financially. So that is why it is a fabricated content. Next is the manipulated content. So from the word alone, manipulated, so the real media, such as the actual news, broadcast, or official DOE footage, has been altered, if you guys noticed. So this, babala sa power savers, from then the headline, babala sa power savers. Then we have here, DOE, hindi totoong nakatitipid sa konsumo sa kuryente ang paggamit ng mga energy saving device. So this is the real and manipulate ang mauna na manipulate na specific na news from the video. I don't know if you guys noticed, but naa siya sa video here.
Energy-saving
You,
device. Lumalabas na totoong nakatitipid ng konsumo sa kuryente ang paggamit ng mga gadget
yun
na
ako
ito.
siya.
Nagpapatrol,
So, mali
Alvin
siyang
El Chico.
part manipulated. It is manipulated by altering the digital it has been altered using digital tools and AI voice or face cloning. Obvious man said, no? From like audio and lip movements sa reporters and even sa the person that they interviewed are replaced to change the speaker's original statement into a fraudulent endorsement. Like, maklaro gid nimo nga, you can clearly see that uh, Miss Bernadette Sombrano's mouth isn't even matching to the news that she is telling. And lastly, we have imposter content. So the video impersonates a reputable news organization and government agency, and that is what imposter content is. They are trying to like be somebody credible to let people know that they have credibility so that matrust sila more by misusing their logos, their graphics, and official branding. The creator of the false information or the disinformation is like attempting to have credibility of trusted institutions to validate a commercial scam. They're trying to replicate the credibility that those institutions have para pod maingon sa other people na they have that kind of credibility. So yeah. So moving on for our next example, also a video. So let me show you guys.
Yanig sa beauty industry ng Pinas. Sa isang live TV show, hindi napigilan ni Dr. Vicky Bello ang mapaluha matapos niyang aksidenteng ma-reveal ang isang natural na cream na kayang magpa-repair at magpa-rejuvenate ng balat sa loob lang ng 7 araw. Gamit lang sa bahay, walang clinic visit needed. Hindi dahil sa pagsisisi ang pag-iyak niya, kundi dahil right after lumabas ang info, ang daming spa ang nawalan ng kliyente at yung iba nagsara pa. Dahil halos lahat, lumipat na sa paggamit ng cream na to kaysa gumastos sa mga mamahaling treatment. Ang pangalan ng produktong nagpayanig sa buong beauty industry, Tallow Honey Balm Rejuvenating Facial Cream. Isang intensive repair at anti-aging moisturizer na super effective kahit walang injection, machine o mahal na procedure.
Bakit sobrang hinahabol tong cream na to? Ang Tallow Honey Balm Rejuvenating Facial Cream ay gawa sa mga premium na
Pagyanig sa beauty industry.
So if you guys notice, the first example and the second example is somewhat related. So maybe the creator of these altered news or fake news is like the same person. So anyways, through verification, I used quotation of like the very video and reverse image searching with the visual matches. So from the headline alone, you could, or the caption or the quotation, you could really say, wow, does the product is very effective because umiyak si Dr. Vicky Bello dahil sa pagkasara at pagkabangkap ng libu-libong spa just because of that very product. the tallow honey bomb something. Yeah. So through searching, I find that that video possesses a lot of, or like not a lot, but possesses uh three category, or three specific na information disorder. These are, or these being, imposter content, fabricated content, and false connection. So imposter content nga naman. So imposter content happens is when genuine reliable sources or real individuals are impersonated to weaponize their credibility. So, ma-apply na to ni siya, or we can apply this sa atong example here. So, the image or
Yanig sa beauty
the
industry ng
video
Pinas.
uses
Sa isang live
a
TV
very
show,
familiar, I don't
hindi
know if familiar
napigilan ni
to
Dr. Vicky Bello ang
you guys,
mapaluha
but it is very
matapos niyang
familiar.
aksidenteng
It is
ma-reveal ang isang
the
natural na cream
TV
na kayang
Patrol's
magpa-repair
background
at
of most
magpa-rejuvenate ng
reporters, and
balat
even
sa loob
has
lang
the
ng 7
translator
araw.
below of
Gamit lang
Miss
sa bahay,
Karen Ladala.
walang clinic visit
And
needed.
here
Hindi dahil
above,
sa pagsisisi ang
Kapamilya
pagtiyak niya,
channel
kundi dahil
live,
right
if I'm
after
not
lumabas
wrong.
ang info,
So,
ang daming
yeah,
spa ang
Kapamilya
nawalan
channel
ng
live.
kliyente
So,
at yung
it
iba
is
nagsara pa.
the creator is
Dahil halos
impersonating,
lahat
or you say
lumipat
is im- it is imposter content because of those things. So the video uses the layout of a real TV broadcast, which is the TV Patrol station, and use the face of popular Filipino broadcasters, same as Karen Davila. So that is why it is also considered as imposter content. Next is we have fabricated content. So the entire story nga saying or stating or claiming that Dr. Vicky Bello went bankrupt. Ano not went bankrupt? Like Dr. Vicky Bello faced hardships after the releasing that very product, and closed thousands of spas has absolutely zero basis in reality, because if it does have basis, then it would have been shown here sa ato ang uh, reversed image search here. So that is why it is fabricated content. And lastly, we have false connection. So it is when headlines, text, overlays, visuals, or captions do not support or match the actual context of the media. So if you guys notice na dire sa atong here's sa reverse image search na you can see a picture of a picture of a very famous personality of Hollywood actress Lindsay Lohan on the left side are entirely unrelated to Dr. Vicky Bello of the Philippine spa industries or the news being reported. Very unrelated. Ganun mag-abot man na si Lindsay Lohan. So, scammers or kaning mga fake news peddlers use random high-profile images merely to pull visual attention or for clickbait lang gyapon. So that is why I concluded that the video or my example is imposter content, that is fabricated content, and false connection. Now moving on to our next example, I think this is the third example. It is a post claiming that another news na said, like 3 to 6 months brownout. Breaking news. Wow. Posibleng malawak ang brownout ng 3 to 6 months. Just na question mark. So, unsure pa ang news. Wow. So, mga tao na bahala sa posibleng dugay. Ay, shush. Bilingual siya, guys. Dugay na brownout. Live 8:18 www.phnewstoday.com breaking news ph. So, this is obviously if us Gen Zs were to look at this, we would uh, conclude, or we would say that it is very fake. It is AI generated. But for some, still would use this opportunity to uh, monger fear, or what they call this, fear mongering. Oh, wala pa din ako. I didn't get to translate the caption. It says here, if the so-called brownout will continue for 3 to 6 months, it will start on April 20. Everything is over. This is the idea that everyone is equal, or we share should post. So here are the analysis that I did to verify if that very news is true. So here, the first image search results, or very first thing that came up or that popped up is fake news alert. So that alone uh really supported my claim na it is indeed fake news. Here, here are some related na fake news in regards of that 3 to 6 months na brana. Now, also doing some deep searches from the Department of Energy, it also says here that DOE debunks a new fake news on energy lockdown, meaning the DOE stated that there is no, or that circulating news is fake. Now, here napapad. Here is the Department of Energy's official website, and I did some thorough research and searched if they do have announcements for a nationwide brownout. So as you can see here, I searched nationwide brownout, but the results is not like matching with what I search. So obviously there is none. And lastly, from Verifile. So fact check. Real or nationwide brownout due to fuel shortage is AI generated. A nationwide brownout lasting up to 3 months will begin on April 20 to 2026 due to an oil shortage that will run out by April 15, 2026. This was what was claimed of the example that I shared. And the verdict from Verifiles, there is no official announcement from the Department of Energy, which is the department that I showed earlier, or electric operative about a nationwide brownout due to imminent oil shortage. The video shows multiple indicators of AI generation and deep fake manipulation. So that alone also made me concluded that concluded that it is fabricated content and imposter brand styling. So that is. So now that we're done with disinformation, let us move on with misinformation. So misinformation is defined as false information with no bad intention or malice. So, misinformation refers to false or misleading information shared without any harmful intent. So, unlike disinformation, the person spreading it may genuinely believe that the information is true or has no idea if the information that he or she sharing is true. So, now let us go on with our examples. So for our first example is this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but for me he is indeed very familiar. He went viral, I think 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, for having or for getting into dozens of scholars internationally, or here in the a headline: tricycle driver's daughter gets 104 million pesos scholar. So this example or this news is I found in PEP PH on May 21st. So this example is from PEP PH, which in first glance is like a very kind of familiar getting a story na. So and PepPH, I think, is a credible source, and this news is actually a news from years ago, which was resurfaced and posted with a hashtag from the archives. But by carefully looking at the post, it says the headline that tricycle daughter, although the picture shows a boy. And although the source did provide context, the social issue is that many social media users may overlook small details like hashtags, captions, or publication dates. Meaning, if some social media users may not be able to like see that from the archives hashtag, they may think that this news is like resurfaced again for like other purposes. So because of this, the post can still contribute to misinformation through false context, where real information is misunderstood due to lack of attention or incomplete interpretation from audiences. So here, ako siyang I did reverse image searching and found the real story from like years ago. It was posted, yeah, 3 years ago, exactly at May 11, 2023. So, tricycle driver's son. Here, the headline says son, while the posted news here on PEP is daughter. So, that might seem confusing to many. So, moving on. Tricycle driver's sons defies odds. Filipino student Julian Martir accepted to 30 US and UK universities with $2 million in scholarships. Find out how he did it. So, in this context alone, I uh, I I believe that this example is false context or misleading content. So false context is where real information is misunderstood due to lack of attention or incomplete interpretation from audiences. But in this case, the source also has some of like problem by saying tricycle driver's daughter instead of son. So this example shows that misinformation is not always caused by fake content alone. Sometimes even accurate information can become misleading when people fail to carefully analyze the text. So moving on with our next example for misinformation, we have this example. So apologies for the transition. I don't think they are currently working on my end. So yeah. So here, I'll read the post. This post is from Miss Dadat Balaba. So captioned, according to information received, a U.S. military unit as a clean sweeper is currently present at the Lumbia U.S. EDCA base or EDCA base. The unit is expected to conduct training exercises in the area, and after completing their training, they may be deployed to operational zones where armed conflict is ongoing. So this may seem or this looks like a very concerning news for many people. And here pa from Mr. Rob Rances, caption, can someone please explain why there were reports of US soldiers in Lumbia CDO earlier and now we're seeing this tonight? So basically, the very first post from Miss Dadat claimed that a military unit named Clean Sweeper is stationed at the Lumbia Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA base in Cagayan de Oro City, alleging they are preparing for deployment to ongoing armed conflict operational zones. So this news was actually during the conflict in the Middle East of Iran and USA. So there are a lot of news circulating that Philippines is also preparing for one by like deploying soldiers from the west, training such as here. So it may project some kind of fear also to like civilians living in CDO. But through deep searching, I we found out that from regional TV of GMA, it says here US troops and CDO for Balikatan not linked to Middle East tension. So that headline alone answers most of the confusion of civilians or like answers most of like their fears. So news update. The presence of the United States or US troops at the Lumbia Air Base in Barangay Lumbia, Cagayan de Oro City is not related to the ongoing tension in the Middle East. The Philippine Army's 4th Infantry Division or 4ID said on Thursday, March 12, 2026. And also here from the Philippine Information Agency or PA, this headline PAF, US Forces at Lumbia Air Base temporary. Oh, so we could say that this information is false, but we don't know if the person sharing it might know that it is false or has any what do you call this, uh intention or bad intention or malice, because it does it is not showing, or I don't think if uh the poster the account or the one that posted the information has any bad intention or malice. So yeah, it is. So uh I then concluded that it is false context or misleading content. So the post invents or somehow captioned unit name clean sweeper from Miss Balaba is stationed at the Olympia Enhanced Defense, although claims that they're heading to active war zones to make a routine training exercise look like a dangerous combat deployment. But actually, the real context was it is not for any war on go. It is not for like any war that is happening. It is just for, yeah, it is not linked to Middle East tension. So that is why it is categorized as false context. So for the next, so that is my examples for misinformation. Moving on, we have malinformation. So what is malinformation? So malinformation is defined as true or factual information but with bad intention. So, malinformation refers to a genuine or factual information that is shared publicly to cause harm, damage reputation, or create conflict. The information itself may be true, but it is used with malicious intent. So, that's it. So, going on with our example, we have here. This is actually, so, excuse me, this is an issue between Mr. BJ Pascual and Dinas Julia. So for context, Mr. BJ Pascual is an internationally known expert or professional photographer rather. And Miss Dinas Julia is a Filipina rising artist. And her genre is like mostly R&B theme. So yeah, I don't think if you have to like know all of those things. So a short context of the issue is that the issue between Mr. BJ Pascual and the singer Dennis Julia became a viral controversy after Mr. BJ publicly shared screenshots and statements regarding an alleged professional misunderstanding involving a cancelled or poorly managed photoshoot collaboration. So, according to BJ, there were problems involving communication, scheduling, professionalism, and payments, which led him to express his frustrations online. The leaked private conversations quickly spread across social media, causing public criticisms and damaging Dennis Julia's reputation as a rising artist. Because the information shared was authentic or like it is true, but was exposed publicly in a way that caused harm and backlash to the singer Dennis Julia, the issue can be analyzed as an example of malinformation, specifically the leaked private information. So here is the leaked private information on the left. And here, this is actually an interview with Miss Kilakush, which is also a known uh, social media personality for most. She is known, but for me, I don't really engage with her content. So it says here, ito na yung bago kong worst, nanggigigil pa rin ako. So this is actually from Miss Kilakish podcast. So, as in, nanginginig pa rin ako ngayon. So, si Dennis Julia, I have. Then, Miss Killa Kush cut through uh, Mr. BJ Pascual's like conversation midway. He said, "Wait, backstory. She was 4 hours late to the podcast, causing or like adding fuel to the fire, like steering the pot of like the ongoing tension between them." So she said, "Here," or they both said, "Her as an artist, wow. Her as a professional, no." Then she said, Mr. BJ added, "Girl, you're booking like the best in the industry. Like, hindi to eme shoot." He is referring to himself. So, "I don't need tuloy, ayaw nilang magbayad. Sabi ko sa manager ko, alam mo, mas stress lang tayo rito. Sige, i-cancel mo na lang. Ako nagbayad, I paid for everything." So, ang ginawa ko na lang, tinawagan ko yung videographer and sabi ko, "Alam mo, mag-shoot na lang tayo ng iba. May ibang mas deserve ng," I think it's ng gamit ko. Something like that. So, to verify all of this, I used source verification. If the source or like this examples that I presented really came from the very persons or from the very individuals. So here you see Mr. Vichy Pascal from the podcast. So I also added that as a verification of the source from Philippine Star also. And Miss Dennis Julia speaking up, and of course then here from Frontline Pilipinas News 5, Dennis Julia na bahaging nagpa nagpahaging sa legal action laban kina Pichi Pascual at Killa Kush. Now, using source verification, it showed that the issue was indeed true and resulted reputational damage to the artist, Miss Dennis Julia. This example is classified as malinformation because it involves, of course, real na private conversations that were shared publicly, resulting in reputational damage and, of course, online controversy. So then uh, this is categorized as leaked or private information, specifically leaked and private information. So the message shared were authentic, but their public exposure contributed to online backlash and reputational damage. This issue is not about false information, but about how real private connection and content was circulated publicly in a harmful manner. And as you can see, uh, information disorder is not only about fake news. Sometimes even real, such as real conversations, real and authentic information can become harmful depending on how it is shared, presented, or used online. So yeah, moving on, we now we are now in our conclusion. So in today's digital age, being informed is no longer enough, especially that technology is like suddenly rising and rising and rising. They're becoming more advanced. We must also become responsible and critical consumers of information. Information disorder continues to affect the way people think and communicate and make decisions online. Whether it is disinformation, misinformation, or malinformation, each type can influence public opinion and create confusion if people fail to verify information properly. And I hope that my presentation reminds us that media literacy is not just about using technology, but also about practicing responsibility, awareness, and critical thinking before sharing content. So, before we share content online, we must ask ourselves, is this information accurate, verified, and helpful? Or could it potentially mislead and harm others? So, before I end, I would like to give you all a quote saying, "Think before you click, verify before you share." And that is all from me. Once again, I am Reed Cervantes, and thank you for listening. Bye.